that you make at a hotel, you are charged. And when we do check out, we find out that day. Occasionally, the bills have gotten to people later, and then they do charge you. You really get charged yourself. So you probably don't want to use the phone. Overseas phone calls can be quite expensive. We'll get into it a little more later, but Facebook, free Wi-Fi at a hotel, you can send a Facebook message. A text is 20 cents, at least with my carrier. Texting's even cheaper. You could get a phone card if you wanted to call, but I wouldn't suggest using a hotel phone. That's really expensive. Now, the consumption of hard liquors is strictly forbidden. I didn't check out the laws of the country only because of the age of the students we're taking, but students are allowed to drink abroad depending upon the age limits of the country, but I think that's more for high school, more than our age. But I do have the form. You're free to let them drink or not, and it's your choice. It's yours, discretion, whatever you'd like. Alcohol is consumed a lot more in Europe than it is over here. When they have a business meeting, that's how they do business. They lunch together and they drink together. So when we're out at a restaurant, it won't be uncommon for you to see the business people dressed nice in their suits sitting there having beers, and that's their culture. That's what they do at lunch, and that's them. And we're just over there observing it and seeing how they do it, and that's the rest of the world. So the kids can drink, but that's up to you if you want them or not, and I do have the forms for you to sign. I think they're right here.
Oh, can I get one?
Yeah. And I know that they're thinking more, these tours are gauged for anybody from elementary all the way to high school. So if you were 18, your parent might be like, yeah, let him have a beer. But, you guys are kind of young. It's in here somewhere.
Did you say they have Wi-Fi in the hotel?
Usually most of the hotels have Wi-Fi. If it's not in the hotel, it's in the museums that we visit, the cafe that you stop. It's going to be somewhere.
So they're caught up.
Exactly. I see Marcelina over there now. Oh, here it is. So in a packet that I'll give you, you'll see the beer wine. And you'll see the prohibiting alcohol. Our copy machine was kind of light on toner today when I printed these. So I do have them, but I also have them electronically. And I can also send you a better copy to sign. I have them, but they just printed light, and there's nothing I could do because I don't change the copy machine out. But I do have the forms, and I'll give you guys each one. And it'll be your choice. And I'll email the form just to make it easy. So I'll probably write myself a little note which ones to mail. So I'm going to send you the alcohol form. And I can't spell, so don't worry about it. And to think I taught English for you. So, spell check's wonderful. Some of the stuff I also printed was stuff like the packing list. All that stuff that was sent in an email. So if you didn't get something, we can also give you that again. Alcohol. Now, shoplifting or possession of an illegal drug or any illegal activities are, of course, not tolerated or permitted at any time. And you could also be sent home immediately. And it's on your cost if you are stealing and get sent home. So, you probably just don't want to be engaged in those activities, but you guys don't strike me as any of the kids that would do that, because I would have probably told you not to come in the first place. I would have been like, no, we don't want you to come. Because there's a few kids that asked me, and I was like, oh no. I can't imagine taking you abroad and trusting you. If there's damage done to your hotel room or on the bus, it is also your responsibility, and you have to pay that immediately. And you should notify myself or the tour director. And then it just says down here at the bottom, the last little blurb says, when you're enrolled on tour, you agree to the rules of the road. And if you don't conform, you can be dismissed from the tour and returned home at your expense. And that would be up to me. I can't see someone doing something like that overseas. It's kind of like when we go on a field trip from school to just local here. We always tell you guys don't steal. Same kind of stuff. It's always tempting, but it's not worth the consequences. And remember, every country has different laws. And you don't want to get caught up overseas because You might not see the soil over here again. So it wouldn't be worth it. And all the forms, including the form that you would have to get notarized, I also have that digital. So if your copy's light, I could also send that digitally. So any of them that I have, I also have them digitally. Now, let's look briefly at the packing list, only because it might remind me to say something to you. Yeah. So, packing. I tried to call my chore consultant today. She was at lunch, but I happened to get a guy who just went on the same tour last summer. So he was almost better than talking to my tour because he just did it. And he said he would advise to get the same suitcase that you can carry on a plane. That's about 22 inches. And that's a small suitcase. It's not a lot. It's the small one. It's the little guy in the store. It's the small one. And then, so it's not a lot. I would recommend that in like a backpack. Because the luggage, you have to carry it. And here was his analogy of how he convinced kids that they shouldn't overpack. In certain countries like Italy, they don't have elevators. So if your hotel room's on the 5th floor, you got to carry that luggage up 5 flights of stairs. So he said he told kids that, like the girls that wanted to bring a big bag, go try carrying that up 5 flights of stairs. And he said some of them immediately said, I'm bringing a smaller bag. Because you have to think about it. This bag goes with us everywhere. When we're on the overnight trains, it sleeps with you. So you probably just don't want to pack heavy. I will probably take like 3 pairs of pants. 3-4 shirts. So you'll just repeat. And he said it before I said it. He said, and we got a little musty toward the end, but we were all musty together and we just kept traveling. He said it. Because you're walking all day, right? And you can only imagine. So, but we're all in this together. So I'd pack really light. I'd take very, very comfortable shoes. It says on here 1 nice pair, but this isn't the one I sent to you. I didn't tell you guys to bring a nice pair because we don't have to worry about that. I would be careful. You might want to take 2 pairs of shoes. I went to New York once with a girlfriend, and we walked an incredible amount. And after 1 day of walking, you know how your foot rubs on that part of the shoe? Well, I had 2 of the same pairs of shoes. So when I put on the next pair, it rubbed in the same place. And then my feet were bleeding by the end of the 2nd day on the heel. So, but if you bring 2 pair, then it's bleeding in a different spot. You're not rubbing, you know what I mean. You're going to rub walking all day. Your feet hurt. So take plenty of that. Plenty of socks, underwear. You might want to take long and short sleeve shirts. Not just one. A light jacket like the one she has on, something light that you could layer up and be heavy or be warm. The weather can be tricky. Miss Persania, who doesn't work at our school anymore, when we researched it, we looked at the weather for the last few years, and it really can be tricky. It can literally be raining one day in one country and then sunny the next. Do you remember when the Pope got inaugurated? It was this time last year. Remember, it was beautiful. But then a week before that, it was raining, and it was ugly. So the weather really can change. So I would plan anything like that. I would especially take a lightweight jacket or sweater, though. And then you know all your toiletries and stuff. Money. You can take euros with you, but you're not going to get a better exchange rate because you got them here. You can get them out the ATM over there with your bank card and you get that day's exchange rate. That's what EF kind of suggests. And that's what I do. I get my money over there. But on the other hand, we have people like my mom who travels a lot more than I ever will. And she gets her money before she goes. It also, she was an accountant too, so maybe she manages money better than me. But you know, that also gives you a budget, right? So you could do it either way. It's up to you. If you want to use an ATM card and you've never used it, I would test it. Don't go over there and test it because you don't want to be over there with no money. Well, we'd help you out, but still.
Also let them know that they need to let the...
Oh, you need to call your banks too. You can't go overseas and expect to use your cards. You need to let them know that you are leaving. Because if not, you'll get a nice no.
I was there yesterday, took care of it.
Yeah, yeah. And a simple phone call. It's not like you have to, just a simple, you can do it through customer service. Just let them know the dates you're going to be traveling so they know the card's going to be used abroad. Because it's happened to me. I was out with a girlfriend. She was buying something that cost more than the regular money she had bought. Oh, she bought a piece of artwork and Golden One said, And she wanted it, so she's trying to call from Trinidad and such an expensive phone call. Just call ahead of time. Get it. Let them know you're going to be gone. This money bag. Oh, you can't see that. I'm looking at notes, but you can't see it. PC. So the money bag in that picture. Those are nice. I think I have one extra I could probably loan to someone. They go under your clothes. They have a really long string, and I wear it under my clothes, and I keep my money right there on my hip, and I can feel it. And then you feel like I know where my money is. And it's hard to pickpocket when it's under your clothes and inside of your pants, and you can't get there through your pocket. It's hard. And pickpocketing does happen. A guy that I know that went on a tour, he had been taking him for 15 years, and he just finally got pickpocketed this last summer. After 15 years. And no one in his group ever did. And then,
I also got pickpocketed in Rome, in the Vatican.
Oh, so it happens.
It does happen.
And if you have insurance, they do cover the pickpocketing, but you still want to try to prevent it because even though they might help you out in 24 hours, you just don't want that inconvenience. You still have to cancel all those cards, and you don't want to get pickpocketed. So I would try to not take a lot of stuff. Like, I'm not going to take my normal wallet because it's a big wallet. I'm just going to take something simple like this. I have a passport. What do you call it? A passport holder? A holder that has my ID and my passport in it. And then I usually keep my credit card either there or in my money bag. And I usually only take 1 to 2 cards max. I don't take all that with me. Because then you're just more liable to lose it. So you might want to think about a holder or something. Clocks. I can wake you up. But if you're one of those that wants to get up, because you take a long time. I'm a 30-minute person getting dressed. Maybe 45 since we all have roommates. But if you need to be up hours before we have to go somewhere, you might want to think of an alarm clock. And remember there's different electrical outlets over in Europe. So yours might not work. You might need a converter. Everything doesn't work. Most hotels are getting a little better. And they have them in their room. Like when I went to China, everything was just convertible and everything worked. But we might not be that lucky in every stop we make, so you just have to plan that you might need a converter. So if you use a blow dryer every day and you plan to take it, you would need a converter for something like that. Some things like cell phones, I think now are more universal, the charger. But you still want to do a little checking. If you plan to take a camera that has batteries, make sure you have plenty of batteries. They run out. And not being funny, there's no time to go to the store. Unless you do it on your free time. There's really no time. Or if there is time, let's put it like this. You have a bus of 50 people sitting there waiting on you while you try to go in the store. So it's just not convenient. You'd want to take as many batteries as you could. And you want to make copies of your passports. And you want to leave one at home. So they know the number and everything. And I'll get copies from you also. The tour itinerary will print out. I'll have all that for you. If you want to send postcards home, I like to send myself, I'm weird. I like to send myself postcards wherever I go. I send them to myself. I write myself little love letters. Like when I was in Mexico, I wrote myself a nice 5-page letter this summer sitting out by the pool. And they were about my teaching goals for the year. So you can send yourself postcards home. It's a cheap gift from a country. It cost me, $1? Yeah, it doesn't cost a lot. So that's an easy way, but you need to take the addresses with you if you plan to take and send postcards. If you have prescriptions that you have to take with you, you need to take a copy of any prescriptions, because customs could ask you to verify what's inside that bottle. So I don't know if there's anybody that has to take pills every day. Oh, she went out.
The phone is ringing.
Yeah, but it ain't important. I'm here. I'm the only one calling it's important. Do you take any pills every day?
I do, but I just put them all in one thing.
Do they ever question?
Nobody's
they've never
ever challenged me.
Ask you. Mom, have you ever got questioned in customs about pills?
I don't just carry. I don't have a lot of pills.
But they've never questioned you about any of them that you take. Oh, so it could be just overkill. The EF is telling us to do that, but you just want to be on the. You want to err on the side of they could ask and have it if you have to take a medicine, because you don't want to have to leave it if it's something you need. And there's also a medical form here I have, and I'll send a digital copy of that to you, but I do have a print, and I'll send that medicine form to you, because if there is stuff that you need for me to even be aware of, because suppose you had some medical issue over there you want us to know, because I would have to go and tell the doctor or whoever. In your carry-on bag, I do have backpacks for everybody, but I left them in my... They're sitting in my garage, but the kids I can easily get to you tomorrow, and then you can give to the... So I'll get those to you. They're kind of small. I wouldn't get excited over... I didn't get excited over the backpack. I have a backpack that's much larger that I'll take. I think the backpacks you guys take at school are much larger. It's a small backpack, but what you put in it is important. I would make sure I have toothbrush, toothpaste. We have an overnight flight. We're hitting the ground running. If you want to brush your teeth that day, you might want to put it in the carry-on, or have some mouthwash, something. And it's all on this packing list, but it's just a quick little reminder. If you wear contacts, glasses, anything you need like that, you need to have in your overnight bag. If you want to brush your hair the next day, you need to have it in that overnight bag. You can't have it in a packed bag and expect to use it. And anything, I wouldn't take anything too valuable, but if you did, you wouldn't want to put it in that bag that goes on the plane. You would want to take it in your packed bag. And I have that in an email, and I can send it if anyone didn't get it. And now, hold on, I have myself a note in my purse that I took with me to my meeting I just left, but I didn't add anything, but I took it with me, thinking I was going to add. All right, so emergency contacts, we did, I can cross that off. We talked about texting and Facebook, and I also sent a message, if you don't have a Facebook, you might want to get one. I can take pictures of, not necessarily our faces, but I'm just saying we can take a picture when we're at breakfast, right? And to let you know we're safe, we're eating breakfast. And then it's on our Facebook page. I did make the Facebook page secret for now because I live alone. My mom lives alone. You guys they live alone. So I don't like anybody to know when I'm gone. I brag about it when I get back. Guess where I was? But I never say it ahead of time just because I don't want a visitor. So I made the Facebook page private. You guys are free to join. I know I added Marcelina. If I already had you as a friend on Facebook, I added you. And I added my mom. She was like, what did you add me to a group for? But no one can see it. My mom's one of those, don't tag her in anything. She's mad. But no one can see what we do if it's in a secret group. It's totally private. Nobody can see it but the members. So don't worry about that. And it's a great way to share pictures and everything else. And we'll get into that kind of stuff. Pictures and all that. I don't know if you've thought about looking into the culture, into any movies. That's always fun. Some movies that were suggested were Under the Tuscan
Sky.
Thank you, because I left off of work. Midnight in and I haven't seen any of the movies because I don't watch them. Midnight in Paris, Rush Hour 3, Monte Carlo were some of the movies that were suggested. They kind of deal with the regions, areas we'll go to, and some of you might have seen some of them. I'm not a big movie person. We talked about drinking. Being on time. This is kind of like going to the store. If we say let's be back at 3, we have to observe that. Because we're all waiting for you. Everybody's on the bus ready to go, and then we're waiting for you. And it happened to me when I just went on a tour in China. There was a girl, she was missing for like 30 minutes. She said she didn't have her watch. Then everybody just looked at her like, first you shouldn't have probably been by yourself. And second, how do you not have a watch? And we just all looked at her. So you don't want to get those looks. And things do happen where you might be 5 minutes late, but 5 minutes isn't 30. It's entirely different. And it's just one of those, to be respectful, you want to try to be on time. Cultural differences. There are a lot of cultural differences, right? Some cultures, I never will forget when I was about the kids' age, we were in Canada on vacation, and we went to a restaurant to eat pizza. Oh, I'm picking up the pizza with my hand. That's the way we eat pizza. And my dad looked at me and said, if you pick that pizza up, you're... Like, and I knew. He didn't even have to finish. You have to kind of observe the culture. You don't want to stand out in a different way that's not what everybody does. If they all eat pizza with a knife and fork, you might want to eat the pizza with a knife and fork. It's just the way they do it. And I know it's a little strange, but that's just their culture, and you want to try to fit in, blend in, get to know it, not have people, you know, kind of laughing at you and looking at you like, and you don't want to do that. So you kind of want to observe the cultural differences, and there can be lots of them. If you want to use the phone, you might want to get the phone cards ahead of time. And if you had questions on that, I can research it. I haven't did any checking on phone cards because I'm going with my mom and she's about the only person I'd probably call from overseas. So I didn't look into phone cards or anything, but I can look into it and let you know like what type they use or any of those things. But once again, cell phones, Wi-Fi, tablets would work the best. I don't know if I'd take a computer. It might be a little bulky. And I don't even know if I'd take an iPad the size of my mom's because it's kind of big still. And remember, everything's with you. That's why I got the mini. Because I can fit it in my mini purse. So, you might want to think about that. Take something small. And hopefully if we don't have Wi-Fi, my tablet takes a SIM card, which they use over in Europe. So hopefully we can get through the internet connection some kind of way so you can send an email, say something, and we're all more than welcome to use that for that. I know you want to go in about 12 years. Huh? You'll be ready. Let's see. So, those are those little things. We're going to watch a little video, as long as the link works.
It ain't gonna work.
Right click. Click.
It ain't gonna work.
I don't know what it says. It says click to follow link.
Yeah, but it's not going.
But it's not. But it works on that computer. And I don't ever use this one. This is the one I let the kids use.
Copy it and then paste it on the internet.
Oh, you know what? I already knew it didn't work. I forgot I made a link somewhere else in my file. I forgot about that. But I'll do this since I'm already there. We'll look at this while I look through here. Alright, so let's see if I can get this larger. It says video, but I guess it isn't. Larger? Oh, there we go. We covered that. So, we did emergency contacts. The flights, I already sent you guys the itinerary. Nothing about it's changed. If anything does change, I get emails and I'll let you know, but nothing about ours has changed. We could have a delayed or canceled flight, but let's hope not. We do hit the ground running on day 2. We get our luggage, clear customs, and then we hit the ground running. There is an activity that day. Some people arrive at different times. We have two people joining us one's from St. Louis and one is from Atlanta. Their planes arrive before us. But there are also groups coming from Florida and British Columbia, Canada. So they might eat their pizza with a fork. So our planes could arrive at different times. Usually, unless they're drastically different, they pick us up at one time because we hit the ground running. So, for instance, when I went to China, groups arrived at different times. I was the last group to arrive, so I didn't have to wait. But you could have to wait at the airport because you just keep going from there. You can't check into the hotel till later, so you just kind of keep going. And I won't know if we have any delay until later, only because I don't know when the other groups get there yet. We haven't all talked. I've only spoken to our tour director. I don't lead any other tour. I don't know anything. I mean, I know something, but I don't know all the history of all these places. They hire all those people. We have a tour director that takes us everywhere, and then the tour director hires local guides. I think in one city we have 2 or maybe 3, and they really know the history of wherever we're visiting. That's what they do all day. That's their job. So they hire other guides because it is an educational tour. Tipping is customary. I'm not going to read all this, but I've broken down the tips. It's kind of like when you go to a restaurant or when you go to anywhere service-oriented, people expect a tip. In all, our tips would be $90. But for the students, I have their tips. I have them for Marcelina, Daisy, and Angelique, because you guys we did some fundraising. Mm-hmm. So we have some tips for that, for you guys. And it's a suggested amount. So, of course, if you thought they were horrible, you don't. Just like in a restaurant if you think they're horrible. But I think you'll like the lady. I've only spoken with her in an email, but she's been doing this for 10 years, so I'm sure she's probably great. I know the guy that we had in China, we all tipped him extra. It was just extraordinary. You know, anything you asked, he either knew or he'd find out. Between that and the local guides, and he was just great. And he was just a really nice person, too. So, tipping...
That's euros, right? The tipping?
It'll break down to be about $100 US, but you know it's give or take.
And
I calculated it as 90 because one day you're actually not there, you're departing. So I don't think we use any of the services, and we've tipped them the night before because we're leaving. So that's how I came up with 90, and I sent it to her in an email. I said I told them 90. I hadn't told you guys, but I told them between 90 and 100, and she didn't respond back like you're off, and that's her tip. So if it was off, you'd think she'd correct me. But the tip doesn't just go to her. The tip goes to the tour director, the bus drivers, and we have different bus drivers in each city, as well as we have local guides that take you to certain places. So the tip's not just for one person, it's for all of them collectively. And there is a tip calculator. Yes.
so
She raised her hand. My mom
I'm
raised
going
her
back
hand.
to it. So you think we should be
That was
euros?
funny, Mom.
Euros instead of US dollars. Am I correct?
That's what we're trying to find out.
Well, they're drastically different as far as money. And it would be, my calculation was $100 US.
Okay, so that's probably about 130 euros.
But I told her $100 US. And this does not say euros, it says $1 to $2.
Okay, would you check into
And
that
$3.
for
Can
us,
you check that
please?
for us?
Okay, check that.
I asked my tour consultant, and she said, yeah, it's kind of just...
Well,
And I told her that in dollars, and she said, yeah. And I'd send it to so I'll check more up on it.
okay,
But
thank you.
nobody corrected me like we were saying it wrong. There is a tip calculator on EF that'll let you do the tip calculation. We could do that, too. We could look at it.
Okay.
That's for me. That's sample hotel. Yeah, let's look at this. They just sent me this like a couple hours ago, so I haven't looked at this. No, it's nothing. Sample itinerary of flight. And that was it. So nothing that I didn't really know, but I did want to cover it only because they just sent it to me today and said it's something we should look at. Bon Voyage. Tour expectations. Of course, it doesn't work. So if I go to, I guess I could. Why is this not working? Should I do a link to that one?
Can I talk to you while you're talking?
Of course.
You know, they advertise that they have extra tours that we can take. It sounds like from what you're saying, we're going to be too busy to even consider that.
And only one person signed up for all the extras. And the date is actually passed for signing up for those. Only one person signed up. You could do optionals to Versailles, Pisa,
Westminster, I think.
and Westminster Abbey. Only one person in the group signed up. The thing about it is, if you do the optionals, you absolutely have no extra time. Because it's in the time when you would have had a free afternoon. So then you would have no free time in London. And I think that's why most people didn't choose it. And I know some of them that I was interested, like I thought, oh, maybe I want to see Pisa. You know, you always hear about it your whole life, it's leaning. And my mom said it's just a leaning building. She was like, I went by it and it was just like, hey, there's the leaning, and I kept going. So it made me go, okay, maybe I don't need to tour it. You know, it was one of those. And then I think I'd rather see a few things in London that I might want to see on my wish list more than that. But even though none of us signed up for it, it is one of those things that if they do have the two other schools going and enough people that are going, they might still offer it to you. And I don't know, it could be that if you guys go, I have to go. I don't know how that works.
See, I didn't know about that either. If we had to stick
I didn't
together
check
as a
on that,
group.
but I know extensions, because at one time we were considering that 3-day extension cruise. They told me I had to go. They said part of you didn't, like some people could go home, but they said I had to go on that extension to let it happen. But then I don't know if it fell through. So usually you can't check into a hotel until between 3 and 4. It says here it could be 2 hours at the airport waiting while you're waiting for other groups to come in. When you're on the bus, you could have motion sickness. If you're one of those that gets sick, you might want to consider Dramamine, Motrin, something like that. Breakfast. Breakfast in the U.S. is huge. We have pancakes and French toast, and they don't. They do
Croissants.
or a piece of bread and juice. They're very light on their breakfast. So I would suggest instant cereal. I eat it every day anyway. It's just easy for me to eat oatmeal or grits that are instant. And I don't mean the kind that say cook for 5 minutes. I mean the one that come in packages and you just add the hot water. Because that's something you could... Oh, I thought you were going to say something. Because that's something you could easily get and it doesn't take a lot of room. I've already bought a box of instant cereal, so it's easier to get it here. It's only a few dollars there. I mean here. You have to remember euros also, the dollar is only worth 75 cents of a euro, so you'd be paying more for the same thing even if you did buy it over there. So you might want to think about that. You might just have a roll, toast, jelly, juice, or coffee for dinner, for breakfast, but that is a European breakfast. It's not,
Bacon and eggs and sausage and ham.
yeah, it's nothing like you have over here. But all countries also aren't the same. In Europe, it could be that we have better food in one country than another. They're just a little different. Breakfast is between 6 and 8. Dinner's between 5 and 7. You can have as much water as you want, of course. But if you order soda, tea, coffee, or any other beverage, be it wine, beer, those things are on you to buy. Anything extra. You might want to think about taking snacks. Yeah, I just take them with me. I took snacks with me to China. I didn't even need them or want them or have them. I gave them to some students we visited at a school. But it's better to have the snacks with you than to think about going to buy them. You might also not know what to buy because their snacks aren't our snacks. They're going to be different. So if you want snacks, just take them with you. It's easier. And then that's something you don't have to bring home if you don't want to. You can easily leave it, dump it out your suitcase. Pack light, like we said. I think about a 20 to 22 inch suitcase, and I know it's very small. Bring a water bottle You could always fill up a water bottle for free, right? I usually take one. I even have I don't know how to describe it. It's like a little water bag and it goes in a backpack. So if you plan to have a backpack, then they have like a long straw and you can just fill it, put it in the backpack and suck out that straw. It's kind of neat, but you will get thirsty because you are walking a lot. You're walking a lot. You're walking a lot. The man said it to me like 3 times today, and he said, when I say you're walking a lot, you're walking a lot. It's one of the most walked tours because there's no other way to get around there but to walk. And when I was talking to this about my brother, he said, oh yeah, some of those museums like the Louvre, he said, it's just huge. He said, just walking in that has to be a couple of miles walking around in it. And I was sitting on the phone going, really? It's that big? And he said, oh yeah. So you might want to bring comfortable shoes. And you do need to drink water because, one, when you're traveling, you tend to get a little thirstier. And then with all the walking, you need to keep your liquids up. Ooh, I don't have that in my notes. But bathrooms. All bathrooms are not the same. And they might not be American bathrooms. They might have squatters. Does anyone not know what that is? Yeah, when the toilet's down here at the base of the floor and you just squat over it. Some parts of Europe do have that. And it's not as, she's like, what the heck? It's not as horrible as you think. When I was in China, most of China only has squatters. And I drink a lot of water. I always have I can't believe it's right here. I was going to say, I don't have water next to me. I always drink a lot of water. So I'd constantly go to the bathroom, and I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. And I shied away from it, like I'd hold it because I'm a teacher anyway, until we got to a place that had dual bathrooms. But then, after a few days, you're somewhere where you just got to go and there are no squatters. And then when I did it, I said, oh my God, it's not even that bad. It wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. My thing quit recording. Oops.
They need that squatter
Sorry.
business on there.
Yes, there could be squatter bathrooms. We'll talk more. All right. So think about that. Some hotels might not have AC or elevators. Just like the Bay Area. Most of the Bay Area doesn't have AC either. So that's a luxury. It's not necessarily something that you'll have. So you might want to think about that. We're not going in the summer, so it shouldn't be horrible. Students.
About the 50s. I check the weather every day on the phone.
Yeah,
but it should start to rise just about when we're going. It should start to get into more of the 60s. Let's hope for the 60s. Because that's perfect walking weather. Just a light coat or no coat. Yeah. You could even consider one of those, when you just mentioned the weather. When you're at the dollar store, sometimes they sell those plastic ponchos. They work great to keep rain off you when you're traveling. And they fold up really small, and they're only about $1. But it's better than being wet. It's better than being wet. I know I've taken them with me. Where were we? Oh, we were in Cuba, and we had on the plastic raincoats, and everybody went, oh, Americans! You stick out, but I was dry for $1. So you might want to think about one of those. The overnight train, as we said, it seats 6 people, and you do take your luggage with you in the car. So if you do pack a suitcase that's large, it might have to stay on the bed with you. If it can't fit in that overhead bin because it's a large one, it would have to sit next to your bed, under your bed, on the bed with you. So they advise a small suitcase. It's 6 in a car. They usually try to arrange students with some type of chaperone or an adult. But they work out all those logistics later. We talked about ATMs, testing your card. You might want to think about your budgeting money. If there's a parent that doesn't want their child to, well, it would only be Daisy because you have your aunt going with you. Well, I don't know. She might be a spender. I'm a spender. So, if there's somebody that needs some money held or put away because you like to overspend, you could always arrange that. And I'd probably I can hold it for you, mark it, and I'd probably just put it in a safe or give it to my mom. She's good about not spending.
I'm
Give
not
her
giving
some
her
money,
my
you might
money.
not ever get it back. It might just be saved for you. So you might want to think about that. We only have to do our lunches, and that's your time to explore. That's your time to have fun. They're going to set us up with meals that are relevant to the countries we're visiting. Who knows the number one? You can't answer because I already told you. Who knows the number one? What's London's most famous dish?
Fish and chips.
I was going to say, if anybody gets it right, I got a sucker for you. A caramel apple sucker. But it's not fish and chips like everybody thinks.
Bangers and mash?
No one ever gets it. It's actually chicken tikka masala. Indian food is their number one dish. And I got excited. I was like, I love Indian food. So that's their number one dish. So we're going to eat that because that's their number one dish. We do have a night of fish and chips too because that's their second. So they do give you dishes that you might not have tried that are the cultural favorites. But lunch is your time to explore. If you want to try caviar, have at it at lunch. But I don't think they'll serve that to the group because most people might not want that. And they also try to appeal to most people. France has, from what I hear, I've never been, but they have some of the best cheese in the world. Nothing like walking up the street just trying cheeses. I mean, you're not going to have many of these experiences any other time, so why not have fun doing it? You could research, we won't know specifically like a restaurant to try because they drop us off in a, for instance, when we had free time, they drop us off in a general area where there's more than one type of restaurant and kind of explain what's around and let you kind of choose. But you could kind of do some research on what type of things you like to eat, that sort of stuff. I made a mistake when I went to China. I didn't try McDonald's because I'm not big on McDonald's here. So I wasn't going to China thinking I needed to try McDonald's. And as soon as I got back, everyone said, "Did you go to McDonald's?" And I was like, "No." And then when I was at the salon, I work at the salon, and my boss started laughing. She said, "Oh, I forgot to tell you to go to McDonald's." And I was like, "How dare you?" McDonald's overseas isn't McDonald's here. It's nothing like it. It's totally fresh. It's nothing like our McDonald's. So I made a big mistake going over there not even trying it. And Mr. Hendrickson, if you had him for English, go talk to him about it. He just came back last week, and I actually saw him at McDonald's on Monday because we were both complaining that we forgot our lunch at home and how dare us both be here at McDonald's. And then the last thing he said when we were leaving was, "Don't forget you got to go to McDonald's over there." So you might want to try them. And they're not the same in France as they are in England. They're all a little different. But I've heard that it's quite different. I've also heard that they serve alcohol in McDonald's. It's totally different. So it's something to try. It's not like our McDonald's here. And I didn't even think of that when I was over there because I would have, they're everywhere, KFC and McDonald's, but I didn't even think to try it. So you might want to think about that as a lunch one day. You might not want to buy too much too soon. Remember, you're going to be carrying it around the rest of that time. You could consider sending something home to yourself if there was some must-have, absolute die-hard thing. I'm sure that we could arrange to get it mailed home to you. That would be the easiest thing. Like if you saw some picture that you had to have or something that was awkward that couldn't fit in your luggage, I would just suggest mailing it. Unless you want to throw away a lot of clothes to get in your suitcase. But that's also an option, right? You could take clothes that you really don't care about to bring stuff home. When my mom and I went to Mexico this summer, I surely took clothes I didn't plan to come back in because I knew there'd be souvenir space. I purposely took some old dresses. Who cares? I was like, I can leave them here, donate them to the whoever. So you can think about that too. It's not the trip where you have to be fashionable and cute. Well, maybe some of you, but maybe not most of us. So, also, when you're thinking about trying to call home, it's a time difference, right? So you could think you might want to call, but it's also a time difference, so it might not be easy. So you could think about that. That's why things like Facebook, texting are easy. Tipping, we talked about whether it can be different. Airport information.
When you gonna go back to the airline? You finished with that?
What about it? That's for me.
Huh?
That's for me.
I know, but the airline information,
It just says call 1 to 2 days before.
you need to
departure.
check in the day before with your passport.
I tried to call. Remember, I tried to call last night. I believe since we're under a group reservation, I'm going to check with them to see if I can do everybody.
Okay,
I think that somehow there's, except for the people that are leaving from different cities, I believe since it's under a group that, because we all have to go through. So you guys might not be able to use your TSA passes, because I believe we all have to go through customs as once. It's almost like we have one reservation. My mom and her friend travel so much they can go through TSA without taking off their shoes and all that fun stuff. But I don't know if you guys, because they might make us all go together. And I'll check on the reservation.
Okay.
But we have time for that.
Okay.
And I said to leave a copy of it at home
I have a question.
and make copies.
When we go, do we have to bring our birth certificate with us at the airport, or no? We leave. Okay. So as long as we have our passport.
Yep, as long as you have your passport. Seat upgrades to expectations. Well, let's look at this.
Do you have our airline tickets
Physical?
physically in your hand?
The e-tickets.
They're e-tickets. They don't get physical.
You just go online.
Yeah, it's too. I think it's too cumbersome nowadays. It's too easy to lose. Everything's
That's
just
not-
paperless. It's just the e-ticket.
It's e-ticket.
Oh, those were travel quotes I had
So
pulled out.
we're in
I was like, what's
40. Those are
that?
seats.
So,
They gave them to me.
not all of this
yesterday.
applies
You
to
go in
us,
your
but I
line,
was
put your
making
name in.
a
There you go. It's already
PowerPoint
out
and it
there.
might jog my memory.
I did that yesterday.
Did you see my name when you?
I we all under one confirmation number.
Why do we have different numbers?
So you might want to think about, like I said, comfortable shoes, dressing appropriately, all that kind of stuff, because you will be walking a lot, and you want to be comfortable. If a dress for you and tennis shoes is comfortable, wear it. Whatever's comfortable for you, but it has to be whatever you're comfortable in. I like dresses, so you might see one. You need to pack lightly, right? You're going to be carrying all that, so you got to think about it. Only you know what you can carry with you. No language, no countries, no people, and no people. Let your memory be your travel bag. So, be ready to walk. Look at how long that it is just to get to the entrance of wherever that is. And that's somewhere we'll see on our tour. Can be a long walk, it really can. But these buildings are older than ours, so you can't just drive a tour bus up there either. They just don't allow that to happen. So you will be walking. Food can be different. If you reject the food, ignore the customers, fear the religion, and avoid the people, you might as well stay home. It says better, but we won't say that. You were like a pebble thrown into water. You become wet on the surface, but you're never part of the water. So you got to kind of adjust. Try it. When I was growing up, my dad didn't let me not try something. And I'm so thankful now. Of course, when I was young, I was like, really? I have to try this? Really? But now I'm thankful because through trying it, you do learn it's not like I thought. It's better, or I don't like it. But you at least have to be open to trying it. And then if you don't like it, that's a whole nother thing. There are differences. Everything isn't the same. Like I said, you can see businessmen having drinks at lunch, and you don't typically see that as much over here. There can be lots of differences. Some countries sell alcohol to kids. It's just what they do.
I've been going for an hour.
I know in Mexico there's no age limit to drinking. That's just discretionary up to the parents. So it's up to you. Day 2, this will be us. That's us getting home, getting off that plane. We're going to be tired. But we can't stop. We're going to be tired. Some of us might not have slept on the plane. I have a hard time sleeping, a very hard time. But I still can't. I got to go. If I have to get a cup of coffee, I have to get a cup of coffee to go. Because we're on the run. We pay for this. We got to go. We can't stop just because we're tired. You'll rest when you get back. So, prepare. Wherever you go, go with your heart. Be fired up. Be prepared to talk to people, meet people. Students from other schools, mingle with them. Nothing wrong with it. You might make some lifelong friends. Someone to go visit. And that's what the next slide said. I sought trains and found passengers. Don't be afraid to talk to the local people that are out there. Get to know people. Talk to people. How are you going to know about the culture if you don't talk to the people? That's one of my favorite things to do is just to talk to the people and find out whatever I can, whatever's on my mind. Make new friends in the country, the people on the tour, the trips. Get to know them. And when you're in a country, try to use their language as much as possible. A lot of people say that the French are not very open and they're very rude. I just had a friend go to France, to Paris over the break when we were off just a couple weeks ago. And he said he noticed as long as you say bonjour. But it means more than hello to them. It's a hello, it's a respect thing. It's deeper than just hello. So if you don't say it, that's extremely rude to them. Don't expect for them to be friendly after that. You want to say bonjour. You want to say hello.
That's France. We don't want to say it in...
No, but you don't want to say that in some other country, please. No. And at night, I guess it's bonjour. It has an S instead of a J. Yeah, I did a little research, just a little. And I didn't notice that. Travel is 99% anticipation, and 10% of it is recollection. The train can be small. 6 people fitting on that train together. A pleasant companion reduces the length of the journey. So, you're going to be smashing there with somebody, but try to be pleasant. It's an experience. I've never been on an overnight train, and I probably never will other than there because it's not something we do here. So just try to make it as fun as all possible. It's getting us to our next destination. The trains over in Europe are faster than traveling by plane. So that's why you're traveling by train rather than plane. It's faster to get on a train over there than it is to go through the airport. Create experiences. Be fired up. Be prepared. The voyage of discovery lies not in finding new landscapes, but in having new eyes. Don't ask me why I like that one. I just like that one. Whoops. Make sure I didn't skip anything. Nope. So, you might end up on Facebook, but remember it's in a secret spot. So, your other friends aren't looking at it. If you want them to sue, put it on your own page. Have fun. I would ask, though, that you might not want to tag people unless they want to be in pictures on your own page. If you want to tag people in our group, that's fine, because nobody can see it. But, some people don't like to be on Facebook. And, you might not want to put pictures that aren't pleasing of people up there. I've just heard of some teachers having a rough time with kids. Like, oh my God, I can't believe they put that picture. So, that was pretty much it. And I'm sure some of you have some. Oh, I have one more. Carpooling. Or dropping off your car or any of the rest of it. Daisy, do you know if you need a ride or if you're going to... You're going to need a ride. Gotcha. So, and you guys are taking both of them.
Yeah.
Could you take anyone else?
Well, we can only fit 6. And we're planning on spending the day.
So your car's probably full.
Yeah.
Okay. Just
Yeah.
so were you planning to get dropped off, drive yourself?
Probably get dropped off.
Okay. There is one lady, the district has their board meeting tonight, and there is one lady that works for the district that's at the board meeting, but we can all talk about and see if, it could be, she's not coming back with us. She's staying 11 or 12 days extra. So it could be that she might want to carpool or go down with somebody, but we got you. So you'll go with us. You'll go with us three at least, unless we end up carpooling you off to like somebody else in the group. You know what I mean? But no, we'll get you. That's fine. That was the other big thing was carpooling. We do need to get the authorization forms. I can mail another copy to you if that one's not dark. I didn't know some people might not have printers. My printer at home is always out of ink. So I hate when people are like, print this. I'm like, man, now I gotta go spend $30 to print that. So if you do need a hard copy of something, print it out. I can do it. I can have them change the toner ink in the printer. It was after school when I thought of it. Any emails, I can always send again. I sent out the packing list. Mm-hmm. I sent out, you can change your seat within Coach, but you probably won't be able to do it until the day or two before. You just called. What happened?
I
I
called,
tried to call and I
and
got
we can only
disconnected.
check in after 9 o'clock on March 19th.
Okay.
And he did give me the seats for the 8 people, and we in 42, 43, and 44. So I guess since we're going as a group, they've already assigned us group
Oh,
seats.
you're all together?
Yeah, we're all together, because I called yesterday, because you're going to be on the phone about 35, 40 minutes. So if you don't have time,
And then I was on the phone 40 minutes and she went to transfer me and then my phone hung up. I called my mom. I said, oh, you won't believe this.
but that's our seats.
Yeah. And then I was going to call back, but I said, oh, you can't change them anyway yet. I was just going to be nosy. I know some people prefer aisle seats versus window seats. We all have our preferences.
So-
My mom likes the aisle. I love the window. So we can work out those little changes later.
But I think the seats is probably...
And we can even move around. I know when I went to China, I was sitting next to other teachers who were going. I changed my seat the night before because I found a row by myself. I wasn't going to sit next to people to talk and I could have a row by myself. It was a small row, but it was still a row by myself. Which makes a difference on an overnight flight. Because I could take a quick nap. I don't sleep well on a plane, but I could doze off here and there because I could stretch out, which makes a difference. So we can change the seats, but it's not going to be till the 19th. If anybody wanted to upgrade, what was it, $150?
$140.
And I believe that would be each way.
I didn't go that far because I wasn't paying $140. So I didn't
Not
even
just for a
listen.
different seat on the same plane. Now, if there's a reason why, and we all have our preferences. If you just want to, because it's a one-time trip, by all means you can. And you can do the upgrades, but you can probably do the upgrades sooner, but you can't change your seat within Coach until later. What was it? Oh, I think that might be a list of people. Checking over all my files. Yep, that's just a list of people. So we do have a group of 11. There's 37 total people on our tour together. There's this a group from Florida, and there's a group from British Columbia. I do not know if they're middle school or high school. They didn't send that information in the email. They just said where we were coming from and that we were all on the tour together. That will be interesting. And everybody said no one said they had food allergies or food no-nos. Okay. Because I did send that information on to her so she could start planning the meals and stuff. So if you need anything, I can send it. I have everything electronically as well as I printed some paper stuff. Oh, this is blank paper. This is the parent authorization form, the packing list all over again. Some of it might not apply to you. And I think I also printed the emails over again too. Marceline, do you want to pass me that? Let's see what's in this pack. They're just packets.
Do this to your teacher and this
Trappers and bolts. I had so much fun printing. I didn't even
Stop
know what
this,
to
because
print.
you ain't talking about nothing.